Welcome back to Chapter 5 Code With Me videos. In this video, we'll be talking about Activity 5.5 and 5.6. So, as always, go ahead and have brackets open to an appropriate page and have your browser open as well. But before we jump into the code, I want to make sure that you have certain things set up which will make things easier once we develop. If you're using Chrome, please go to the top right of the browser to find the three dots. Or, if you're using an older version of Chrome, you may have three horizontal lines. If you're using another browser, such as Edge or Firefox, please find the associated area that you can modify the browser settings. But in this case, we have three dots, so we'll click on that and go to Settings. What we're going to be doing is actually modifying the browser in the Download section to make sure that we have things loading in the appropriate areas we want to download them. So, if your browser settings doesn't automatically show a download section, you may want to go to the very bottom and find Advanced. Okay, Downloads, Downloads. Here we go. So in this case, I'm going to be setting the Download section and examine the Ask Where to Save Each File Before Downloading option. Right here, it has a little slider to the left. That means it is turned off. If the toggle switch is to the, 3, 2, 1. If the toggle switch to the right is gray, the option is disabled. Click to turn the toggle of this option on so it turns blue. If it's already blue, don't do anything. We've already taken care of it. Alright, and because Chrome is so nice, we don't need to worry about saving or reloading because things are already taken care of. Close your settings. And let's go back to the code. So now what will happen is that whenever we download a file, Chrome will prompt us with a Save As dialog when we download files. If you've never gotten that before, don't worry, I'll show you exactly what it looks like. Now we're going to be creating an image link. We're going to go to the Downloads page in the browser, Downloads page in the code. There we go. And we're going to be adding line 15. Line 15, image right there. Okay, let's just double check. This is T-Rex guitar small, and look at that awesome dinosaur playing a guitar. We're going to be modifying it with an anchor tag. Well, how do you make an anchor tag wrap around an image tag? Exactly just like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to be wrapping this in an image tag, href, because we're good developers, title, and we go ahead and close the image tag. If you don't close the image tag, then, well, things will be a little hard because then everything will be a link and the browser doesn't know where to end. Ugh. So, let's add various information to the values of these attributes. So in the hyperlink reference, we're going to say downloads T-Rex guitar. Thank you, brackets, for automatically filling it in for us. The title is going to be Monster, if I can spell it right, Monster Guitarist Coloring Page. Okay, let's just save this, go back to the browser, and refresh, make sure we're doing things right. Well, it didn't change anything visually, but hey, what was that? If you notice when you hover your mouse over it, instead of just having the standard mouse icon, you now have the pointer icon, and look at that, we got our tooltip. Well, what happens when we click on it? We go to the actual image. That's pretty awesome. So let's go back and add the rest. Alright, so let's click to the right of the image tag. Done that, okay. Width and height 300, good. We tested the link, we clicked the image, back button, okay. So now, let's make this a download link instead of just going to the image itself, because we can click it all day long and it can go to the image, but we want to make this a little easier for the users. So instead of having them go to File and Save, or even Command S or Control S, we can actually make it be downloaded for them. So what we do is use the download attribute. And we're going to put this as Monster Guitar. Well, if you didn't watch the lecture videos, what does this mean? This means that basically, even though it's called trxguitar.jpg, it is going to be renamed Monster Guitar once it's downloaded to the client system. And if you notice, once you have a value in the download attribute, you save, you refresh, and if you click on the image, you notice that, well, it may go to the image itself. Why is this? Well, one of two reasons. One, a lot of browsers may not support the download attribute for security reasons. A lot of the ones like Safari, Edge, and some versions of Chrome may not do it. So don't rely on this as a foolproof solution. However, using the exact same code and putting it on a local server, in this case my local host, a bit more advanced than what this class has, you'll notice that this page has the exact same code as the code that we're working on. And if I click on this, you notice that it automatically tries to download the file for me, which is exactly what we wanted to do. But the difference between this and the other version is that this is on a local web server instead of just the file itself. Big difference. So if it's not working for you, don't worry. Once it gets uploaded to a web server, it should work. But again, don't rely on this because not all browsers support it. You also want to make sure that when you're modifying the download attributes, you actually add the proper extension as well onto the file, because otherwise, if you don't, let's just modify this really quick. Go to Chrome Editing Tools, come to this, edit. Let's just take that out. Go that, good. Okay. So, if I click on this now, it'll try to download it as the space.jpeg, which may or may not work. If you don't have the file extension added, the browser is going to try to add it for you, but it may not always work. Okay, long story short, download attributes, good. Okay, let's create and test the remaining links, just to make things a little easier. Okay, we're good, so let's add the extra links. Ahref downloads all instruments. All instruments, thank you, brackets. Title, let's see what we got. We don't need to worry about title. Okay, in this case, we're going to say download. And the second one is awesome instruments. And we're going to close this because we're good developers. Leaving the line break on the previous line, that's perfectly fine. If you want to move it down to the next line, you can do that as well. Last one, href downloads, not HTML. And this is just guitar. Download. And let's just say guitar image. You can use spaces in the file names if you want. Again, this is going to be a locally downloaded file. Alright, and close that. Good. So now let's save. Let's refresh the local file, not the one on the web server, local. We have image, link, and we have image, link. We're good. Okay. Alright, we're good. We verified. And the title attribute, if you have it, which should display as a tooltip. We got everything else. Okay. So, activity 5.6. Let's go back to the index page in the code, index page in the browser. Home. Perfect. Okay. So we have an email address down here, line 19. I'm going to wrap that in an anchor tag, href, and email. Good. And, well, what exactly are we trying to do? We want this to automatically create an email that is crafted to be sent to this address instead of worrying about the person copying and pasting and unfortunately mistyping it. So what we can do is we can actually use a protocol anchor. In this case, we're actually going to be putting it inside the hyperlink reference with the email address, alec@example.com, because the author of the book is named Alec. Well, we're not exactly done here. Unfortunately, just putting the email address in there doesn't tell the browser what to do. What we need to do is we actually need to 3, 2, 1. we need to precede this with a protocol. What is a protocol? Well, if you recall, the HTTP:// that works, but unfortunately that's not what we're looking for. Just going to log someone into the site using the username at the domain. Instead, we can do what's called a mail-to protocol. What this means is that as soon as we come down to the page, we refresh, a user clicks on it, that will automatically open up an email program, in this case a mailbox, and craft an email with the to field automatically filled out to the email address we specify. Now the good thing is, what you're doing here is you have the ability to change up the link text to whatever you want. My email. Save, refresh, and now you can see contact me at my email. But the link itself will still craft a message to this email address, which is perfectly fine. But keep in mind of spam bots. If you put this on a public web server, the spam bot may or may not read the link text, but it definitely will read this. So once you get into more advanced JavaScript, you can actually obfuscate this with different techniques so that spam bots are fooled. It's not perfect, but it stops them in their tracks, at least temporarily. If you want this to say, create a telephone call, you could actually say a href call me, and in this case I'm going to say tell, which initiates the dialer application on a mobile phone or some kind of communication program on a laptop or computer such as FaceTime or Skype if you have that installed. In this case I'm going to put in the phone number 828-555-1234. Now the good thing is you can have this phone number in any format you want because it's pretty much just stripped down to the basics. Save, refresh, and it says call me. And if you notice on the right hand side, not the left, because down here is actually where our mouse is, on the right hand side it says tell 828-555-1234. That means if I click this, it's going to pull up the dialer program on my mobile device or whatever system I have with my computer, and it's going to try to call that number. We're not using that in this system, so we're going to be deleting that. Save, refresh, information is gone, and we are good. Okay, so that is it for this Code With Me video. If you have any questions about this or anything previously discussed, please contact me whichever way you want, and I'll get back to you the best way I know how.